a little debriefing from the Metal Gear 1 marathon. We just we finished Metal Gear 1 now.
It's been quite a while, but we've both been busy with stuff.
Yeah, but I thought that we would sit down and we would talk about what Martin thought of Metal Gear 1 before we move on to Metal Gear 2. And while we are doing that, I got a package for us.
Actually, I'm more interested in the package.
Yeah, you're probably more interested in the package. Let's just... maybe we should use that knife you got?
Yeah, maybe we should do that. Let's see, it goes in here. You can see I'm an expert.
Yeah, you're trained with a knife.
Oops. I'll let you open it, I'll just cut all this for you.
I don't know if it comes out on camera, but you see the Japanese marks here.
Let's see. Here you go. Open your package,
okay. I'm going to show you my package, son.
Oh yeah.
And there was Japanese newspapers in this.
Woohoo! Sell them on eBay. We'll look at those later.
Well, this is a lot more thick than I expected.
Wow, interesting. Oh, bubble wrap.
You're gonna pop this while we're playing Metal Gear 2.
I am so gonna pop all that bubble wrap. I mean, as a kid, if you wanted to give me the best present ever, either you gave me Legos or bubble wrap.
If you gave both, you would be entertained for like a year.
I would be in happy land.
So, in case you can't see what it is, it's a Metal Gear 1 to 100 Metal Gear Rex. So we were actually thinking of we should probably
assemble it.
Oh yeah, I was just reading the instructions here because it said something about 24 hours.
That's why I'm talking to the camera, you know.
But yeah, we were going to assemble it. I hope the instructions aren't in Japanese.
If they are, at least I'm fairly good at building model kits. We might not build it on camera though, because it's going to be a lot of work, but
we might speed it up or something.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Without commentary.
Yeah, now that we have opened that, what did you think of Metal Gear?
It was, well, obviously it's a PlayStation 1 game, so obviously we're not going to comment on graphics and such things.
Well, if you think about the time that...
Alright, if you think about the time, it's a really good game graphical-wise.
Yeah.
I mean,
I remember we talked about like the fight with Psycho Mantis, where you commented on that there was a reflection in the floor.
Yeah. For the time the game came out, it was really good graphics. I'll give it that, and the gameplay especially was interesting because the PlayStation 1 wasn't a very powerful machine. It wasn't used to running these very free games, you know, where you have a lot of space to play with.
It was more levels.
Yeah, more level based. I like that a lot. I can't remember too much of the sound, but specifically, it is a collector's good.
Look at all these small little bits!
Well then, that is gonna prove...
What the fuck is this? Okay, this is gonna come whole on the camera. These small bits you see in this plastic wrap are liquid and so... that's Grey Fox right there. And that's Snake with the stinger. You see that?
Yeah, with the stinger.
And that's Grey Fox.
Yeah.
That's probably liquid. And that's Grey Fox with
the both arms.
Yeah.
So you have actually ordered a kit, and it might. Oh, dude! It's a kit that you have to paint as well. It appears. I can't remember. How was Rex somewhere?
It was this color.
So
so I will have to color it.
You will have to paint it. There they are.
Come on, look at this.
Very cool. Very cool.
This is great for camera. You also had to paint the figure.
Of course you have.
Yeah.
So you build a true collector's kit.
And it is in Japanese.
Well, good thing I'm good at deciphering.
Yeah.
Although it's not hard. All bits are numbered and such. Just don't cut out too many at the time, you know. But yeah, I liked Metal Gear 1. Music was good. From what music I remember and such. The characters were interesting.
Yeah.
If we take a look at the characters, combined with the history, the story of the game.
Yeah.
The story was interesting. It was very well thought out, considering it's a game from a time where you didn't see much story progression necessarily in games, or deep.
Exactly. Most of the characters you would see in that time and age were like cartoony characters, or like if you're looking at stuff like Dino Crisis or Resident Evil or Siphon Filter, other action games that came out at that time, they were your usual B-movie action heroes, where you had characters that were just manly for the sake of being manly. We talked about it in the beginning of the Let's Play, where Snake is actually a character that has many faults. He's not perfect in any way, while the soldiers you see in other games or in movies or whatever were usually a typical, well, they could do anything.
Yeah, they have one flaw throughout the game, you know, that's exploited for like 10 minutes of sad scene, and that's pretty much it, you know.
Yeah, either that or their only flaw is that they have to reload their gun or something.
Something like that. Hey Duke.
Here's actually a thing that I forgot to mention during the Let's Play. When Hideo Kojima made Solid Snake, he was actually he wanted him to be with the body of Jean-Claude Van Damme and the face of Christopher Walken.
I think you mentioned it off camera actually.
Yeah. So that really shows that he was actually a product of his time. It just didn't show as much.
No. But it was interesting, and I like all the references to real world things.
Yeah.
And also the thing that they mentioned so many in-game things, the various organizations and such, that we don't necessarily hear a lot about.
That's because we skipped most of the codec content.
That's true, that's true. But it gives us an interesting look into how they developed the world, how they thought it out, you know, the universe specifically. But I liked it. I generally liked the game. I'm not sure I'd play it myself through, but then again, I'm bad at sneaking games. That's a whole different story. But it was interesting. It was definitely interesting.
Yeah.
But for some peculiar reason, even though I like it, I'll probably never play it myself, also because it's a PlayStation 1 game, and whenever I fire up my own PlayStation 1, it's usually to play one of the old cartoony games like Crash Bandicoot, or if anything, Taken 3 for instance. Usually. Because that was usually the game I played when I was the age.
And usually when you fire up games, it's usually to get that nostalgic feeling that you had. So play games that you grew up with.
Yeah.
Which is why I have no problems with moving up that game.
Of course. Whereas I didn't grow up with that. I think my brother and I, we had basically every PlayStation 1 game that ever came out. But for some peculiar...
That's a lot of games.
That's a lot of games we had. And sadly we sold pretty much all of them. But for some peculiar reason, I don't remember us having Metal Gear. We might have had it, but we never really played it. We usually played, well, obviously Crash Bandicoot we played a lot. Tomba we played too. And we played a lot of Gran Turismo actually. We didn't actually, most of those really great games, you know, that came out in PlayStation 1, Resident Evil, Metal Gear, Dino Crisis even, such games, you know, Silent Hill. We never really played those. And those are recognized as the really great classics of the PlayStation.
You didn't touch as much of the Japanese games.
No,
You were probably more of the American, European games.
Hell yeah, boy!
But to return to the point I had, you like Metal Gear 1, you will not play it yourself, or well, you can't see yourself play it yourself?
No. I would, again, as I've already said, I think I mentioned this during the Let's Play. I've said it several times off camera that I would have no trouble sitting through watching you play Metal Gear, and I wouldn't have trouble doing that again, actually. But I can't see myself playing it, mostly again because it's also a sneaking game, and I am not good at sneaking. That was why I gave up on Metal Gear 2, which we're going to play soon.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting how you solve the problem I couldn't solve. Hey, brother. Oh, wait. There.
So technical difficulties.
Yeah. So where were we?
But yeah, we were talking about how you were looking forward to Metal Gear 2.
I definitely am. And seeing how the story's going to develop, obviously, I won't say I'm necessarily a graphics
but
but
let's wait with that, because this video has been like a debriefing of Metal Gear 1. So we will make another video which will be seeing there's no briefing mode for Metal Gear 2, we will sort of make our own briefing where I will tell what we can expect from this game and what you expect from this game, and give a little info on it. So we will turn to the camera and nod and say thank you for joining our first Let's Play, and then we will be silent for a while because then we'll just cut it and then I won't have to go up and start again.
Definitely do something like that actually, definitely.
So thank you for joining our first Let's Play of Metal Gear Solid. We will see you guys in our Metal Gear Solid
2 debriefing.
Sons of Liberty briefing, not debriefing.
Briefing, yeah. Debriefing is gonna be after.
Yeah. So see you guys in the next video.
And take care.
Bye bye. Hello! This is the briefing video for the Metal Gear Sons of Liberty Let's Play. We're going to have a little talk about what we expect from this video,
from this game.
From this game, and what I am telling both you at home and Martin what you can expect. And
for those new viewers here, Riiser and I did a Let's Play of Metal Gear 1. He plays, I comment. He comments a lot too. He plays it because I have never played Metal Gear Solid. I've tried the first, say, roughly an hour or something of Metal Gear Sons of Liberty, and I failed hard. I can't sneak for shit, so we're doing this. And I've said often to Riiser here that I could watch him play Metal Gear Solid all the way through, probably, and be interested, genuinely interested all the way, but I can't play them myself, sadly, because I'm that bad at sneaking.
So this is mostly also a video to because Metal Gear is a hard game to get into. You are sharing an example of that.
Definitely.
So we are making the Metal Gear Marathon to sort of give people who have not played the Metal Gear series a inside look of the Metal Gear universe. So this will be coming from me, who have played Metal Gear pretty much my entire life. And with Martin here as a what do you call it, a historical
commentation.
Yeah, he knows a lot about politics and history and stuff, which I don't. So that will be so we'll try and comment and guide you guys throughout the game. So Metal Gear Substance.
Substance? Did you mean something liberty?
It's because they made a game.
There's so many.
They made Metal Gear Substance, which was Metal Gear Sons of Liberty, and then they added a lot of shit to it.
And then it was called Sons of Liberty.
No, the first game was called Metal Gear Solid, and then Metal Gear Sons of Liberty came. Then they made what is called Metal Gear 2 Substance, which is Metal Gear Sons of Liberty with all sorts of extra things.
Okay.
It was before you started all this huge trend with Game of the Year edition.
So my Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty at home is incomplete.
Well, not really, but it didn't have all the extra things like VR missions. And shit.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Stuff I can actually do.
It's extra gimmicky shit.
Alright, it's not extra story.
No,
Fair enough. So it's not really expansion stuff. It's just.
It's just extra.
Okay.
It's just extra. DLC.
Yeah.
You can call it. Metal Gear Sons of Liberty. Here is the gist of it. Metal Gear Sons of Liberty is one of the first games that made critics and non-video game players around the world start thinking that video games could actually be art. It's one of the first games that really broke the mold of that. So people started thinking that video games could be a lot more. This is also a game made by Hideo Kojima, and it's one of those games where I'll just come right out and say it now. I will be spoiling a lot of the game throughout. I'll try to keep it down a little, but I will interpret a lot of shit that is going to happen in that game, because the game is pretty hard on symbolism. And whenever you're thinking of something, there's also a reason for that. One of the things that I'll just, if you don't care for spoilers, just turn the video off now, and then you can just go right ahead watching the...
Or we'll add a link to jump forward, say, whatever, how many seconds.
I don't know how to do that. I'll find a way. But there will be a spoiler here, so unless you see a big annotation thingy that shoots you forward, just cut it here and watch the actual Let's Play. But the thing about this game is there is for the life of me I don't recall what it's called. It's where media controls you. It's what's it called?
I can't remember what you would call it.
But
yeah, I know what you mean.
but it's a whole thing about where the media tells you one thing and it shows you one thing. Like there is this really great picture online that I'll try and see if I can like throw in on the video, where you see like there's these two soldiers and some Pakistani guy, and you see it cut 3 different places. So there's like what the media wants you to see, and then they see like the soldier with his rifle pointed at the guy, and what is and then there's what the soldiers wants to see, and then you see like this guy, the soldier is giving this Pakistani some water, and then you see the real picture, and then it's like the entire thing where you see one soldier pointing the gun at him and another one giving him water.
Right.
So it's kind of how the media is controlled and how you're meant to see different things.
It's actually the aspect of how journalists have a power to show us what they necessarily want, not what is necessarily the true thing.
Yeah, but social control, whatever I think it's called. But it isn't just journalism. It's how the media portrays it. So the reason why I'm mentioning this, and again, if I'm a little nifty and if I got a little extra time on my hands, I'll try and like fade videos into this. But all the trailers you saw for Metal Gear 2, Sons of Liberty, was all of Snake. You would see Snake walk around in this tank, and you would see him. So you were thinking, oh yes, this is Snake. We're going to play as Snake. Oh, I can't wait for it. And even the box art would all have Snake on it.
Yeah, I remember him being on my very version of the game too.
And the screenshots of the game would all have Snake on it. The moment you boot up, the intro screen will have Snake on it. So you were all like, Snake. And of course you play a little as Snake, but then you play the real game and you play as Raiden. And that's actually Hideo Kojima actually being the clever bastard that he is, where he was actually giving us an example of how the media can control you. Because you were seeing Snake, so you obviously thought, I'm going to play as Snake. But that was just him controlling you, like the media can.
Yeah.
Which is also a thing that he did with Revengeance, Metal Gear Revengeance, where he was showing all this crazy dumb shit with Raiden that would get people up in arms, which was supposed to happen because it was exactly what he wanted, because people were going to buy the game now to see what the hell is this shit, this can't be real.
Yeah.
And so he's actually controlling you, and to think that the moment he makes trailers a part of the gaming experience, then you are doing something that no other gaming director has ever done, to my knowledge.
I can't recall that one either, but that's an interesting thing actually. Yeah, I do remember you play as Snake for the first bit of the game at least, because I remember I played as Snake and I heard Otacon yell a lot, Snake!
Yeah.
Consequently. But yeah, that's actually interesting. I think you mentioned before to me that you actually mostly play as Raiden throughout the second game already.
Yeah.
I think you've done that a few times off camera. Because obviously we talk about a lot of games every day, you know. But yeah, it's interesting. I also think you have mentioned already the thing with the trailers, how they portrayed Snake, just Snake. And it's an interesting way of, from a company's perspective, and also Hideo Kojima's perspective obviously, to gather a lot of attention to the game and put you into a very shocking revelation.
Yeah.
Actually.
And there's also a thing, like, a lot of people were like, who's this pussy whip Raiden dude? He's so shit. And the thing is, actually, he's actually meant to disappoint the players. And he's meant to be this character that you don't really care about. Because, as we will also see in the game, he's... The whole thing of your expectations of Metal Gear 2, where you are like thinking of Snake infiltrating a place and taking on these different bosses and shit.
Yeah.
That's your expectations for Metal Gear 2.
Pretty much the same as the first game, somewhat.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that's because when Metal Gear 2 came out, people were always thinking like that was the norm of a sequel. It was where you were playing the same thing, just better, more or less.
Yeah, in a different environment, but pretty much the same thing. Few different bosses.
And that mindset is actually also a thing that would continue to be Ryan's mindset. Like, he believes that he is going to be Snake, which we will see in the game, so I won't go too much into it. But but remember, and this is also for you guys out there, that whatever feeling you're getting throughout this game, where you're thinking that this is sort of like Metal Gear 1, that is actually meant to be like that. You're meant to think like this is going to be that, but not really. So whenever you're thinking that, so whenever you're thinking like this is supposed to be this, or this is supposed to be that, or oh, this reminds me of this, or this reminds me of her or him or whatever, hold on to that feeling, because it's actually meant to do that.
Alright, well that's interesting.
So so like I said, it's a game that experiments a lot, and I think that if anything, I'll probably also say this in the debriefing, but that'll be months from now. So
it'll probably be a while till you see that actually.
So I'm just going to say it now while I remember it. A lot of movies out there where it's like symbolism, and then you won't understand the movie or the game or whatever until you find out what the symbolism is. So you can't just take the movie or the game at face value. You first have to understand the symbolism, and then a movie that comes to mind is, have you seen Antichrist?
Yes, I saw it.
Yeah.
And then I strapped it to a fireworks rocket.
Yeah.
But different story.
That's a horrible movie, because like it's no wonder that you're supposed to analyze it.
Obviously not. It is a very what would we say, a very artsy film, you could say.
It's too artsy, because you can't watch that movie and then just be like, that was okay. That's one thing that you will take at face value. No, you will have to analyze it to get anywhere with it.
Definitely.
Metal Gear 2 is a game where if you just take it at face value, then it will be a great game. But if you start going into depth with it, which is something I first found out like a year ago, and this game has been out for quite a long time, is that if you go into depth with it, and if you start analyzing it, and if you start finding out what the different things mean or symbolize or whatever, you don't just have a really great game, you have like, well, you can understand why it's an art piece.
Obviously, yes.
Yeah.
Alright, well that's going to be interesting.
Do you have any closing words? Because
not really, except I expect you to do a hell of a lot better than I did. For those of you out there that tried it, I played the first level with the ship, and I couldn't get past the area where all the soldiers are standing and looking at a picture and then shifting, looking at that picture all the time, you know. That's where I got to. I could not get past that level for the life of me. Although I didn't check up any online guides at that time.
I don't know before that time.
Actually, it wasn't. It was just, I think it's like 3 or 4 years ago I borrowed the game from you actually. I think it was around then, you know, and I just could not get past it. I could not for the life of me.
Well, we will have to see how it goes then.
As long as it doesn't go as badly as your Metal Gear Rex.
Shut the fuck up. See you guys in our Let's Play. I really look forward to it, because we are entering what's basically, well, we had Metal Gear Solid 4, and that kind of set the groundwork, but Metal Gear 2 is pretty much what starts the universe, what shows what kind of world we're living in. So I really look forward to it. We're also entering an era of games where it became much more of a common thing for people to game, you know, and play these deep games. The time we're in now, you play so many games with great story, great characters, great depths, and people speak about them all the time, you know. Even people you don't expect to be gamers will know these games and probably have played them. And that era actually started with the PlayStation 2 to some degree, you could say. And Metal Gear 2, as far as I know, would be one of the really first games out in the common knowledge that has a story so large and deep, actually. So that would be interesting. See you guys in the Let's Play. And take care. Bye bye.